Alright, so we have our table contents set up, adding and subtracting fractions, and this is the date we did it, 11/4, and it's on page 1 because it's the first notes that we're doing in our notebook. So go ahead and do that. You can pause it if you need to, but I'm going to go ahead and keep moving. So I'm going to flip the page, we're going to go to the next different page, and we're going to make this page 1. So this is page 1, so you put that at the top. We're going to put the top adding and subtracting fractions, so we know what it is when we look at it, and we're going to just glue this foldable in, and we're going to do that last after we fill the foldable out. So let's get started. So the first thing we're looking at is how do we add and subtract with common denominators. So what you need to remember is common just means same. Common means same. So if the denominators are the same, we're going to add or subtract the numerators. Okay? And then we're going to keep the denominators the same. So again, if we have matching denominators, we're going to go ahead and keep them the same. And we're just going to add or subtract the top. So we're going to practice that. Okay? So here we have, notice our tens are the same. So these are the same. So 10's the same, so we're just going to add the top. So 6 plus 3 is going to be 9 tenths. And we cannot simplify that, so that is it. But notice we kept the bottom the same. Same thing here. We have the same bottoms, the same denominators. So that's 25, so we're going to add 16 and 12, which we know is 28 over 25. And we can change this into a mixed number. So we want to see how many times is 25 going to 28. Well, 25 goes into 28 one time, so this is going to equal 1. And then we know that 28 minus 25, because only when they're once. So we're just subtracting that one time from 28. So we have 3 25ths. And notice how our denominator is still 25. Okay? Here we have 23 plus 54, that is 100 over 100. So again, keeping the 100 the same. And 23 plus 54, so that's going to be 77. That cannot be simplified. And the same thing happens with subtraction. If your bottoms are the same, your denominators, you just subtract the top. So 6 minus 2 is 4. And we cannot simplify that, so it's just 4/7. 14 minus 13. So that's just going to be 14 minus 13. It's just going to be 1. Cannot simplify that anymore. And then you have 19 minus 11. And so 19 minus 11 is going to give you 8 over 25, which can also not be simplified. Okay? So that is it. It's pretty straightforward when we have the same denominator. But when we're focusing on different denominators, that's when it gets a little complicated. So if the denominators are different, we need to find a common. We need to find a common denominator. And we do that through multiplication. So we're going to multiply to find common denominators. And then once we have those common denominators, then we go ahead and do what we've been doing, which is add or subtract. And then we just keep our new denominator. Okay, so let's practice that. So we only have 4 to practice because this actually takes a lot of steps. So the first thing we want to do is notice we have a 4 and 5 here. So when I'm thinking about common factors between 4 and 5, I know that, or common multiples, because if you want multiples, not factors, common multiples, I know that I can just kind of list some multiples right now. So my multiples of 4 and 5, we can list those. So 4 times 1 is 4, 4 times 2 is 8, 4 times 3 is 12, 4 times 4 is 16, and then 4 times 5 is 20. And then 5, we have 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. So again, we can look at this and we can automatically see that their common multiple is 20. So that's what we want to do. Remember, this was times 1, times 2, times 3, times 4, times 5. So we want 20 to be our multiple. So we know we want to end up making both of these denominators 20. And that's going to be our common denominator. But how do we do that? So we just take what we already done. So 4 times what gave us 20? So 4 times 5. So we're going to times by 5 here. What we do to the denominator, we have to do to the numerator. And then here, we have, for 5, 5 times 4. And that gave us 20. So we're going to multiply by 4. Remember, what we do to the bottom, we have to do to the top. So now let's just multiply. 3 times 5 is 15. 2 times 4 is 8. So we have 15 plus 8, which is just 23. Okay. Of course, we can turn this into a mixed number. So if we do that, that'll just go, 20 goes into 23 one time. We have 3 left over 20. Let's do our next adding one. So we have a lot more space here, which is good. So we're looking at 9 and 2. We want to find those common factors. Okay. So again, just going to do this until we find one. So we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. And then here we have 9 times 1, 9, 9 times 2, 18. And I can automatically stop here because I've already found my match. So when you find your match, you stop. Don't keep going. Okay? So my match was 18. Those are my matching multiples. So again, you're finding a common denominator, which is just a common multiple. That's why I'm multiplying a common multiple. So we know it's going to be 18 in our denominator. And we're adding. So to get this 9 to be 18, we multiplied by 2. To get this 2 to be 18, we multiplied by 9. Okay, so now let's just multiply. So 5 times 2 is 10. 1 times 9 is 9. So when I do 10 plus 9, I get 19 over 18. And again, we can turn this into a mixed number because 18 goes into 19 one time. So therefore, we have 1, and we have 1 left over 18. So again, we're finding common multiples. So if you need to do a multiplication or common multiples, that's what we're looking for. Looking for the common answers that they have in common. Okay? Now let's subtract. We're doing 6 and 3. So again, make our table. We may know this from the top of our heads, but let's just do it just for consistency's sake. So we have 3 times 1 is 3. 3 times 2 is 6. 6. We'll keep going. 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 4 is 12. So we have 6 times 1, which is 6. 6 times 2, which is 12. 6 times 3, which is 18. 6 times 4, which is 24. So I see lots of pairs, but we always going to go with the smallest pair, the smallest multiple. And so that smallest multiple actually would have been 6. It's our first one. Okay? So 6. So we're just going to turn everything into 6. And notice one of them is already 6, so we don't have to do anything to that. We can leave the 7/6 alone. We can leave the 7/6 alone, but we need to multiply 3 by 2 and 1 by 2 to turn into a common denominator. So 1 times 2 is 2, and 7 minus 2 is just 5/6. Okay. And then our last one, we have 5 and 3. So we have 5 and 3. So I'm just going to make my table for 5 and 3. Okay, so we have 3 times 1 is 3, 3 times 2, 6, and we kind of did these on the other side, 9, 12, 15. We can do one more just in case, 18. And then we have 5 times 1, which is 5, 5 times 2, 10, 5 times 3, 15, 5 times 4, 20, 5 times 5, 25, 5 times 6, 30. So again, we're looking for the common multiples, and again, we just did our basic times table. So I'm looking for the common denominator, and so that common denominator I'm seeing is 15. Okay. So I have 5 here and 3 here. So we know we want them to be 15, so we can go ahead and do that. So we know our denominator is going to be 15. But we multiply 5 times 3 to get 15. We multiply 3 times 5 to get 15. Whatever we do to our denominator, we have to do to our numerator. So we have 4 times 3, which is 12, and 2 times 5, which is 10. And now we're just going to go ahead and subtract, leaving our denominators the same. So we have 12 minus 10, which is just 2 over 15, and we cannot simplify that. So again, these are your notes on adding and subtracting. We have same denominators and different denominators. So definitely go back and rewind if you need to look at it again or hear it again. But once you are finished, make sure you glue it into your notebook. So you're just going to take it and glue it in, and voila, you have these notes forever. Right.